All right.
Excuse me.
So welcome. Hi, I'm Susan McConnell, your LinkedIn for the Reserved Champion. Thanks for joining me today. I host this conversation every Tuesday at 12 o'clock with different business owners on different topics to light up my network with actionable ways so that you guys can improve your business. So today, my guest is Mark Devincentis. Mark is a business leader, coach, and consultant, and has worked with clients in over 8 industries, focusing on marketing strategies at work, sales coaching, and strategies that help his clients dramatically improve their bottom line. He has clients in 5 countries and works with organizations with annual revenues from startup to over 18 million. So it's quite a broad audience, and as few as one person in a company to over 100 employees. When you work with Mark, he initially focuses on what he calls the 3 S's and 1 P. We're going to ask him more about this when we start, but they are strategy, structure, systems, and people. And focusing on those 4 areas will help assure any company will reach its full potential. So welcome, Mark. Thanks for being here today on this rainy thunderstorm day. So we may lose power, everybody. So if we do, we'll be
Thank you
back
for
at
inviting
some
me,
point.
Susan. I appreciate the invite. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And you definitely have quite a background in sales and marketing. So my question is, what is the biggest problem companies face when they're trying to find the right business consultant?
Typically, what I find when people are trying to hire the right business consultant and they've gone through multiple consultants, my largest client has I think I'm her 4th or 5th, and she's been with me for almost 4 years. But prior to that, she had gone through at least 3 and maybe 4 others. It's not finding somebody that you can relate to. This is a relationship, and too often when business owners are looking for anything, it's a shiny bauble, and you need to take time to get to know the coach or the consultant and be able to have a conversation with them prior to it and ask yourself if this is somebody you can accept criticism from, because hiring a coach and consultant is different than hiring an employee. So I always tell my clients, either before they hire me or after they hire me, sooner or later, I'm going to call you baby ugly. And I don't mean it personally, but I'm going to do it. And I let them know ahead. I'm sorry, my camera's shaking. I let them know ahead of time, because they need to know that they're gonna hear from me the honest, unvarnished truth. If they want to hear someone to tell them how great they are, they don't need to waste money on me. They can hire a $12 an hour employee to do that for them. My job is to help them get better, and sometimes that is telling them areas of opportunity that you think I can help them be better in. My job is to give them the truth, give them objective information, and their job is to make a decision on whether the information is going to work for them or not. I don't spend their money. I just give them the ideas and give them ideas on how best utilize their time, and they need to count on me to tell them the truth at all times.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I agree. I mean, you don't want to hire someone that's going to yes you to death. You hired a consultant to get results, and in getting results, you want them to be able to challenge you. So, what is the biggest problem companies have when it comes to your 3 S's and 1 P, the strategy, structure, system, and people? I mean, strategy and structure are there, and a lot of people don't even have it, never mind need to fix it.
Well, that's really probably what you and I faced. I'm still facing. I'm building the airplane while I'm flying it,
Right.
and every business owner is going through the same thing. I live my daily life, both personal and professional, but with a lot of structure and systems. I can't do everything is a process for me, and it's helped me when I was an employee for companies, and it helps me as a self-employed individual, and it helps me when I'm working with clients to illuminate to them how important having a structure is. Systems and structure, while they're very similar, I think of systems more process than which is different from just the structural way they run their business.
Mhm.
Um, But strategy is an overlooked thing.
I
I'm
agree.
finding in the business world. Everybody's tactic heavy. Everybody, tactic is like is the latest shiny. I use the shiny object thing. It's the latest shiny object thing, where you could have all the great tactics in the world, but if you don't have it tied into a strategy, which to me needs to be tied into a vision for your company, it should all work together, be consistent. Not that you're doomed to failure. You're just not really optimizing your full potential.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I think about strategy and even a process, you say it all the time, and they're like the big buzzwords. But if the process is wrong and the strategy is wrong, it's taking you down the wrong path, and you need to change. And a lot of people don't know that or they have a process and they don't even implement the whole thing. And if you don't do the whole
Yeah,
thing, it's not going to work.
it's not going to
Same
work.
thing on LinkedIn. If you don't work LinkedIn like you're supposed to, you won't generate leads.
And to your point, LinkedIn was something I always knew the value of, but I never could find the time to do it myself right. And
Right.
the thing is right. I could do it. I halfway do it. I'd spend some time on it, but I wouldn't be consistent. So I hired people to do it for me, and they do my messaging. It took me a while to train them on my messaging, but because they speak as if they're me and they're really good at it, I've actually, it's increased my leads, my sales. It's more than quadrupled it, to be
Mhm.
honest with you, maybe
It's
10
great.
times it. Yeah. So doing it, which is, we ask people to look at us as an outsource to help their business grow. We can be just as guilty of not wanting to outsource because we look at it as an expense, but really truly was an investment for me. I think I increased my business just in the last 2 months almost 50% just by making one small change in my business.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes you need that person on the outside sitting, looking in on what you're doing on a daily basis to help you make those adjustments in strategy.
It freed me up to do the things I needed to do to help my business grow better.
Yeah, most definitely. Um, so what is so you only focus on marketing and sales with your clients? I think that you do other things.
I do other things. My largest client, I don't do any marketing and sales with. Initially, my marketing and sales got me in the door with her. Almost inevitably, with every client that I work with, I start with the theory of helping with marketing and sales, but it evolves into other things.
Mhm.
Um, like I said, my largest client, I don't touch marketing or sales. We focus on process improvement, P&L enhancement. Right now, I'm trying to help her find a building for her business, a new building, new location. We talk about overall strategy. She runs a lot of things by me. She obviously makes the ultimate decision, but she talks to me about things that are of concern to her, and how would I handle it? What advice? She doesn't always, quite frankly, she doesn't always take my advice, which is fine. But at least I'm somebody I believe she trusts enough that she's going to run something through and respect what I say to her. I've earned her respect and her trust that she can know that she's getting what I honestly feel.
That's
So
cool.
it doesn't always stay to marketing and sales. And quite honestly, when you're working with a small startup or a very small business,
Hmm.
they have many issues they need help with. And if I was just to focus on marketing and sales and not help the other stuff, I wouldn't be holistically helping them. And that I try and do that.
Yeah, it's the same for me. I have lots of clients that I am strictly on LinkedIn with, but as they talk to me about their business and how they're trying to grow and some of the different areas that they serve, I've been in sales and for well over 20 years, and I know different things about where people should go, and so I always end up helping them in other areas too, because it's what you would do. It's how you help people.
No, but not only that, if I can't fix it, if I don't have
Right.
the answer to it, like yourself, one of the things doing what I've been doing, to speak for me, is I've met some wonderful people who have skill sets I don't have.
Right.
And I'm not bashful at all about suggesting that any of my clients seek help from somebody I know, like, and trust. And the fact that they trust me, when I refer them to somebody, they know that I'm referring them to somebody that I've vetted, that I've looked into. So I don't know. I don't have all the answers. Nobody should say they do. I clearly don't have all the answers. And when I don't, and this would come a surprise to my wife maybe, but I don't have all the answers. But I have no problem finding people that have the answers that I don't have.
That is so true. I never claim to know anything, but I do claim to know enough people that can help somebody in most every area. And that's a great skill, and it's a great like a go-to person, and it's kind of a good feeling that you know that you can help somebody, whether it's you helping them or not. And that's kind of one of the ultimate goals is if you're helping somebody, then it's a great thing.
And you, we're just tools in the toolbox.
Definitely.
We bring a set of skills and tools that they didn't have prior, and with us, we're like a Swiss Army knife. We had tools that are hidden, but those are our contacts. Those are the people we've come to know, like, and trust ourselves.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about. I mean, there's definitely a lot of mistakes that businesses make, and even you and I make them here and there. It's like, what is the single biggest mistake you've seen small business owners make in marketing their business?
Focusing on the tactics and not on the strategy.
What do you mean by that? Give me a good example.
So when I talk to a business about, okay, tell me about your marketing strategy, they'll say something like, well, I do LinkedIn, or I do Facebook, or I try running Facebook ads. To me, those are tactics, right? So if my strategy is to get you a stronger social media outreach, visibility, and we're going to use that as part of our overall marketing strategy, we were going to include tactics that may fit for your business. It may be Instagram, TikTok's coming up. It could definitely, if you're B2B, it's going to be LinkedIn. If you can reach a B2C consumer, maybe I'll do some Facebook with you. But to me, those aren't the primary. It's gonna all roll up to a larger vision, if you would, because if you start just doing a bunch of tactics, you're throwing stuff against the wall and you're hoping it's going to work. Most business people don't realize you can't talk to a consumer, only an end user or consumer, one way, because you're taking a chance that person's going to understand and accept your message that way. But the truth is, we're inundated with messaging on a daily basis from a variety of sources, and what may reach you positively today may not reach you positively tomorrow. So you need different ways to reach out to your potential client or customer. And most small businesses I talk to don't understand that there needs to be a plan. You can't just throw stuff against the wall and have it work.
So the first thing you do is sit down and go over what the plan should be, or maybe what they've been doing, what's working, what's not working, and then develop the plan. Is that kind of a strategy that you would use?
The overall strategy is I have, for my consulting clients, I have a piece of software that I utilize to evaluate their business. It'll evaluate them on a dozen different areas, and I can do I call it a jump start, and I can do that in about an hour, and it comes up with a plan. It'll show where that company is either misspending or missing opportunity, and it'll give some ideas on how to fix it. And what I try and do is take that as an outline, a framework, and then I match tactics to it, so that when I show the potential client that, hey, listen, this out of your own words, these are your own numbers, this is the statistics, this is where you fall. I'm not telling them anything that is from me, it's from them. So now I say to them, let's try and fix this. Here's some ideas, and then we find the right tactics to match those ideas. So it's software driven, so it isn't just my opinion. It's off the facts. It isn't, because honestly, we all walk into any conversation, it's somewhat biased, right? From our end, we think we can help everybody, right? It doesn't matter. I think I can help a company, but I don't know specifically where till I get to know them. So I really do take this as if it's dating in a way, because I need to get to know you, and you should want somebody that takes the time to get to know you and isn't just going to say to you, yeah, I do this for all my clients and it works. Because to me, that's not looking at you as a single person and as a special entity. And I don't do the same thing with all my clients except for the starting
Right.
point. That's the only time I'm consistent with everybody, is I start with everybody the same way. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, that's so very true. I feel the same way. Um, I have what I call a base of the things and the artillery that I can do and use with people, but I customize it because everybody's business is different. Everybody's personalities are different and how they work and what type of skills they have. So it's someone has to be custom because not everybody's going to be able to do things the same way and be successful. And what works for some will not work for others. And you're absolutely correct, and it's a great way to do it because you can't just do the same thing for everybody. That you're right, it won't work.
No, so I started a digital agency and rebranded in January and got away from just doing consulting. And I did that because I was sending people to other providers for websites or digital marketing, and I wasn't always happy with the pricing, and I wasn't always happy with the quality. Where I felt if I'm talking to a client of mine, I know that I should have taken time to get to know that client well enough to know that I can create marketing, digital marketing specifically for them and at a price point that I know they can afford. And I'm not making them pay money for stuff that they should be getting from me that's included with me. So I have a bunch of all included packages, and it's all based upon what their needs are. And I know that whatever their needs are, I can supply it on the digital end as well as the consulting end. And none of my clients get the same stuff because it's personal to them.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly right. So tell me a little bit. You've been doing this for a bit. Tell me a little bit. Tell me some interesting stories regarding your first few years of being a consultant.
Yeah, like anything, when you start out, you get your feet wet. I just thinking about this the other day that this client that's been with me the longest, our relationship has evolved over time. Where in the beginning, there were things I wouldn't say to her because I didn't know her very well. I didn't know enough about her business, and she didn't know me well enough to trust me. Now, I am not abashed about saying anything to her, and she has no problem coming to me with anything. This has been an involvement over time. I made mistakes very much in the beginning, trying to understand how I could best help people. And to me, this is some of the people I first dealt with. They're my beta customers. As I've gone along, I now have gotten to understand how to be more effective to people, for people, and which is why I transitioned to partly a digital agency also. So some of my worst stories, and you maybe can relate to this, is I fired a customer once,
Oh boy.
for because the person couldn't keep salespeople, and he asked me to look into it. So I looked into it, and I figured out he was stealing from his people. He was stealing their. It wasn't that hard to figure out. If you called a number on their business card, it went to their central office, and central office decided if the person in the field would get the deal or not. It was really he was screening for the prime deals. So he was stealing from his people. And I said to him, I can work with you. Here's a solution. I can work with you if you follow the solution. But if you don't follow the solution, it means you're doing something unethical. I can't work with you. And I ended up terminating the agreement. And I remember walking away from that feeling empowered because that's not something I could have done as an employee. As an employee, I would have been forced to sit there. And that gave me a good feeling to know that I stood by what I believed how a situation should be handled. Um, and it reinforced to me why it was so important that I do what I do. Because there are businesses, there are good businesses out there that need help, and there are bad businesses out there that um, I don't want to work with, and I steer people away from if I possibly can. But I take all the knowledge I learned as an employee over 40 years, and I try and make the best use of it as a consultant. I like what I do, and I think you do
Yeah.
too. In
Yes,
our
I do. It's
discussions,
fun.
yeah,
It's
it
fun
is
to
fun.
see people progress. It totally is. I agree. So tell us about a successful client. Tell us about someone who you had to take from maybe not doing much well to completely changing and turning it all around.
So I've got a client that I noticed maybe, and this goes to the relationship aspect. I noticed early on, 3 months in after they signed up, that they were headed down a path where it could get litigious from an employee standpoint. And I'm not a human resource specialist. I have background in it, and I made comments to this owner that if things, this is what I see happening, and she responded to me very angrily, that she wasn't going to go corporate. It was a family-run business. She wasn't changing her philosophy of being family. She didn't want to have processes. She didn't want to have documents. She didn't want to have all this stuff. And I said to her what I said to you earlier. It's my job to give you information. It's your job to figure out what's good and what's bad. 3 months, less than 2 months later, everything I said was going to happen happened. And the owner called me up and said, if I didn't know better, I'd say you planned this. And I said, no, I didn't, but I could see it coming. And we bring, as consultants, the objectivity of walking in, not being emotionally, and I explained this to her. I'm not emotionally tied to your business. Right. I go home at night and I'm fine. You live, eat, drink, sleep this. And right. And I can see things you can. And I reiterated again what my job is and her job is. Since that epiphany, if you would, our relationship has grown very strong, where she trusts me so much, and I've done nothing to ruin that trust, hopefully. But it's all because of it's all because of that one issue that I pointed out and I predicted was going to happen, and it happened, and she went, oh crap, he said it was going to happen, and it happened, and that helped earn my trust with her, I believe.
Yeah, you hate to have it happen that way, but yeah. I mean, sometimes people have to fall to know they have to get back up. So she did what you asked, then she turned it around and she made it a LLC or.
Now her entire organization is all process oriented. She's like, every aspect of her business, she's doing her best to have people in place that can create processes for the next group coming up behind them and right. Transitioning. And she's done a lot of it on her own without my guidance, because she saw the value in it in the beginning.
That's good. Well, yeah, you taught her that it was important. She saw it go the other way and learned that you have to do that. That's, if you have a person that does a job and they know everything about that job and they leave and they haven't documented their process or their strategy, that can be a problem.
When we had a discussion 2 or 3 months into the relationship, I thought she was going to terminate the agreement, because she could have at that point in time. But she kept it, and we had some very tense conversations up until the time where everything I said was going to happen happened, and then all of a sudden the dam broke, and we got on great.
Yeah. Well, you hate to see that happen, but at least you ended up with a client you ended up with someone who took your advice and listened, and that's kind of that's a cool story, because you took someone from the other side and brought them over.
But it's real life. We see it. I see it every day. We all see it in our. It's dealing with people. It was all genuine and authentic to me, how it was handled from both sides.
It's awesome. Well, Mark, thank you so much for our conversation today. I put your email in the chat, but how else can people reach out to you?
Email is a great way, but you can call me at 774-284-0119.
Say that again,
774-284-0119. Okay. And you can go to my website, 8cylinderconsulting.com.
Great. And I will actually put that in the chat, although I think my Wi-Fi is a little slow today because of our thunderstorms that we have in the area. So, but I will get your website in there as well. And thanks for being my guest today.
Susan, thank you. I appreciate
You're welcome.
You having me on.
Yeah. Yeah. Glad to have you. Love everybody's point of view, and hopefully someone learned something to take away. Make sure to join me every Tuesday at 12 for dangerous conversations to help your business move forward, even if you don't want to hear it. Right, Mark?
Even if you don't want to hear it.
Right. Signing off.